What is going on, everybody? Bryce Crispy 94 here, joined by the one and only Cryoquake, and this is episode 9 of the Monster Corner. We are covering the mighty Corpse Flower, as suggested by our special guest, Mr. BlazingTorchic.
Hello everyone, my name is BlazingTorchic. I have a bone to pick with this thing.
Oh shit.
But it's such a lovely flower. It's not.
It's
a
beautiful.
lovely flower.
It's a beautiful little flower, guys. What do you mean? What are you talking about?
Beautiful flower, and it'll
Such
be
a-
even more
Yeah,
beautiful when I see
Go ahead
it
and take a
burn.
look at this beautiful flower.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Oh yeah, it's so wonderful. Look at that.
It's pretty. I like it. Look at it.
Full of skulls, just
Ooh.
holding a corpse in its hand.
Mm-hmm. Papa's favorite.
So, this is the Corpse Flower. It is a 5th edition monster. So there's not a lot on it, and only one design to cover, but let's go ahead and talk about its design.
Listen, man. I don't know about y'all, but I like it. Okay? I don't know what you mean. It's pretty. It's a nice little flower. It's got little buds at the top.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That
It's pretty.
digest humans.
No, we don't have to talk about all that. You know? Like, I mean, it looks like one of those pretty weeds that always pop up in the yard.
Right? It's just like, oh, wow, there's a flower that's not really a flower.
Like dandelions, because dandelions
Right.
are technically weeds.
Oh yeah.
I
Maybe
think,
buds
right?
are-
Technically,
I think they are.
so, like, I feel like weed is, like, a term design, like, a man-made term. It's not actually, like, a plant category.
No,
Do
it
you
is
know?
not. I don't think so.
So, like, I think it's, like, whether you determine if dandelions are weeds or flowers. I consider them a flower, because, I mean, they look like a flower.
I mean, but to be fair though, the dandelion before it becomes the puffball is a flower.
Mm-hmm.
But the dandelion as the puffball that kids pick up and blow into the wind looks more like something that shouldn't exist on this planet.
Right.
So that
Yeah.
to me, I would classify the beginning stage a flower and the end stage a weed.
It's like, I mean, you know, like apples, they flower before they apple.
That's true. So are apples weeds then? Ooh, that's existential. We shouldn't talk about
Ooh.
that.
Also, I just realized there is 2 crows sitting on this thing.
There is.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't notice that at all
Me
until you
either.
said it.
Huh. So it must not really care. But that makes sense. I mean, crows are commonly found around, like, dead things. They're scavengers.
And to be
That is
fair, this.
true.
No, continue. Sorry.
I mean, given how this thing works, I don't know how the crows are getting so close.
Well, my thought is, can birds smell?
Oh
Because we're gonna get
god.
we're gonna get into that point. We're gonna get into that point, fellas. But yeah, can birds smell?
That is a good. I don't know.
I mean,
I
how
think
else would they?
birds can
How else
smell.
would they know something's dead?
Yeah. But that's another thing. These are scavengers. They like the smell of death.
So maybe, yeah. So you're right. Maybe birds are unaffected, or maybe crows specifically
Right?
are unaffected by. That's insane. Imagine if in like all D&D threads, there's a little part that says like crows are immune to this. That would be so funny.
Crows are gonna be immune to so many things.
All you would have needed to do, Bryce, is turn into a crow.
Yeah. I didn't even think about it.
It's gonna bother me. It's gonna
Okay,
bother me so
birds-
much.
Most birds lack much sense of smell. There are some groups that can.
Okay, so either I guess you could either play with the fact that either they like the smell of death, therefore they're immune to the stench, or they just can't smell it, or they can't smell it as good to the point where it would be harmful.
Or they've got some weighted dice for them con throws.
For the contos, which we'll get into that.
I'm having a hard time with, like, figuring out what is skull and what is plant. Not skull, but, like, don't some of the, like, vines next to some of the skulls look like hands or rib cages?
I think that maybe is
Yeah.
an intentional design.
That's what I'm wondering.
to like,
like
diff
that.
like to be like it's not even differentiable at this point. Like they are
Yeah.
one with the flower at this point.
Yeah.
So that's
That
what
is pretty cool.
I like. Obviously, if you look at that very left one, you can see a rib cage, but then right where the head meets the chest, you could clearly tell that's a vine.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
it's
of
also
the
got a
thickness.
lot. It's got a very greenish tint. That
Yes.
bit of like skull.
Well, I don't. So like when you crush when you crush a plant, like the green pigment will like leave like on like concrete and like dirt and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
like
that's
pulling
true,
weeds.
Yeah.
Like when you pull weeds in the hand, like if you're. I mean, I hope people aren't
The-
pulling weeds with their hands.
Isn't it the
but-
chlorophyll?
Yeah, it's the chlorophyll. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
whenever if I pull weeds on the glove,
Biology.
yeah, on the glove there's green because you're like gripping and like
Right.
squeezing the like the plant blood or whatever.
And
however you wanna
basically,
refer to
yeah,
it.
if you think about it, like if you're ripping apart something that has blood in it, you're gonna leave red behind.
And like if skulls are white and it's rubbing up against the plant and being that close, it would make sense to the dying almost of the skull to be green.
Yeah.
Or moss or just growing over it or something.
I mean, it has a really cool design though. How it looks like just an amalgamation of like tendrils of plants and just corpses smacked in the middle of it. It's like a very messy but also combined look.
Because like, if you came across this thing in the ground, you wouldn't see those tendrils. You would just see the blossoms.
Yeah, you wouldn't even see
Yeah.
the skeletons either.
No. Yeah, you would just see that blossom. It isn't until it uproots itself that you see the skeletons and the vines.
And the one that the one that I used in Double Advantage was built into a fountain. Like it was corroding up a fountain. So that's the only reason you even noticed the skulls to begin with, because it wasn't planted into the ground.
Right.
It was like it was feeding off of something. So, but yeah, if it was planted in the ground, you would have no idea, which is terrifying.
Yeah.
All right. So since we're talking about planting these guys, it's a good time to move on to origin and history. So there's not a lot of lore on these since they are a 5th edition. If you guys want to check them out yourselves, they are in Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. I always say his name wrong, but I've learned it is Mordenkainen.
It's not Mordenkainen?
Nope, Mordenkainen.
Mordenkainen. Damn.
And
Well,
only know that because of Mr. Matt Mercer.
oh, well, Matt Mercer is correct on everything, folks. So go ahead. I'm just kidding.
As
I was
always.
But so in Mordenkainen's there is a, what do you call it? Like a little blurb on the page that these are on.
An
talking
expert or
about-
is it excerpt?
Excerpt. Yeah, there we go.
Excerpt.
Talking about the seedlings, which are apparently very valuable. So a corpse flower seedling is very valuable. It doesn't say why, and I could not find why on the internet anywhere, so I guess that's up for your DM to decide.
That's kind of a nice little tool.
Yeah.
You know, to just kind of have a little everybody's own reasoning behind why they'd be important.
Right? But another cool thing about these guys is they're not very rare, which is kind of scary. But then again, they are also rare because they can only grow from the corpse of a dead necromancer or very powerful undead.
Well, I fucked that one up.
No, well, not really, because once they're full grown, they move.
Oh, never mind. I didn't fuck that one
Yeah,
up.
no,
I
you're
read
good.
the lore. I read the lore before I put this in Double
Let's
Advantage.
go.
What do you mean?
Like, because it makes sense. Like, they grow up once they've basically consumed whatever they were planted on, and then they
Yeah,
move
yeah, yeah.
on to, grayer pastures.
Ooh, good wordplay.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, I mean, cemetery is like the #1 place to find these things.
Well, that was my logic, and I'll get into that later. But yeah,
Right. So, yeah, I mean, that's it for the origin history, because there's
that's
really not
that's
much.
it.
Yeah.
Ah.
I mean,
Interesting.
I guess, they grow off the necromancer's bodies, and their seedlings are super valuable. And that's about it, which is kind of crazy. Like, it doesn't say... I mean, they're a plant, they're not a monstrosity, so they're technically natural to the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah, technically.
I mean, it
I mean-
certainly leaves it open for the DM to interpret,
Right, yeah.
which
Exactly. Yeah.
sometimes is nice, I would think. Get a bit
Some-
creative with it.
Sometimes it is, and sometimes it can be a little overbearing because, like, something like this, I think, is kind of that perfect middle ground where it's like there's enough behind it for you to build something off of it, right?
Right.
There's a balance where it's like it says like this is how they're created. The rest up to you. I think if it was a little more ambiguous than that, where like literally the only thing that was known about them was that they consume dead, I think that's a little too much to kind of fiddle with. But I guess that's also up to like if DMs like to have complete control over things, or if they like to build off of what's already there, which is what I like to do. I like to build off of what's already established.
Right.
I feel like it would have the good balance of like a DM who cause I feel like it could be used by a lot. Like DMs who don't know too much, they can just come into this. It gives them enough so like they get a push,
Right. Yeah.
like in the right direction. But like experienced DMs or DMs who like to really make their own stuff, there's like not too much written about it, so they can really explore a lot about it.
Exactly. And you bring a good point, because it's like, to be fair, because of how open D&D is, you can totally rewrite like everything about D&D. Like you could rewrite that these things don't come from necromancers and that actually they were created by necromancers. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah. I was
Well, just
actually just
totally-
thinking about that. Like,
yeah, some people just take D&D and throw it out the window, basically.
Yeah, rules are there to be broken.
it could just be like a normal sort of plant that looks like that, and the seed was blessed by a necromancer and planted, in a graveyard, and voila, monstrosity.
Yeah, you could do so much with stuff like that. And even if stuff is established, you can just take that shit and flip it on its head.
Yeah.
You know? It's whatever you want to do. That's the great part about this game.
Okay, well, moving on to the stats of this wonderful, wonderful creature we have here.
I mean, I think I should let you two take the reins on this, because I know this thing a little too much. I think you guys know a little too much about this thing. So I'll let you guys
So-
take it up for now.
Okay, so
Wait,
class-
pause. I just want to say this. I'm getting a phone call from Russia.
What?
I'm not going to show it on screen, and it might have popped up when I pulled my phone up, but it literally just says Russia.
Russia.
Here, Bryce, if you want to... Oh, well, you guys can't see it. Never mind. I was going to say, Bryce, if you want to blur this out, I'll show, but we can't see each other right now. But yeah, I just got a call from Russia.
Nice.
That's certainly an interesting thing.
Yeah, that's not great.
Well,
Oh, shit. Anyway, continue. Sorry about
okay.
that.
So, it's a large plant, chaotic evil, obviously. It feeds on the dead. Armor class 12. That makes sense. It's pretty big, and it doesn't have really any armor at all. It's organic material.
Yeah,
Um,
but that HP. Ooh.
yeah. I mean, that's a
Yeah.
pretty good HP.
Yeah,
Especially since
yeah.
it can heal itself, which we'll get to
Yeah.
later, but...
And if you roll for it, it's a maximum of 195 HP.
I believe I did roll, and I think I had it at 146.
146.
Yeah, I was thinking, I don't think it was in like the 120s.
I'm not sure where it was, to be completely honest with you.
Now, its
Yeah.
speed makes sense, because, I mean, it is a plant. Honestly, I would lower its speed.
Yeah, I was thinking it can move a bit too much for like how big it is,
Right?
and it being a plant. I mean, the climbing speed I can understand, but the walking speed, I mean, it's all right.
To be fair, though, you guys did very significantly reduce its speed at the beginning because of Entangle, or Erupting Earth, I believe is what you did.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like, yeah, you brought that thing down to 10.
You're right.
You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
I mean, in most cases, everyone in the party should outspeed it. Because
yeah, I don't think any players have a 20. I think 25 is the lowest you can get, unless you've been hit with like some spells that
Right.
reduce, like Frostbite, I think, or Chill Touch. The cantrips, one of them reduces your speed.
yeah,
So it can't be blinded and can't be deafened, which I like that it can't be blinded, considering it is blind.
yeah,
Yeah, which is interesting, but
And it can't
Oh,
be
I didn't
deaf
even think about that.
which makes sense. It doesn't have ears.
Yeah.
Which.
I mean, but blind sight for 120, like that was
Yeah.
like the entire radius of that graveyard.
Right.
So
Yeah, so like we cannot
yeah.
hide from it.
No.
Yeah.
Which its passive perception is 12. I feel like something, but that makes sense because it's blind and deaf, I guess. So I guess I completely skipped over its stats. Let's jump back up. 14th in strength, 14 in dex, 16 in con, 7 in intelligence, 15 in wisdom, and 3 in charisma. I can't believe its charisma's so low.
I wonder why.
Yeah. But honestly, I like the stats. I get why its wisdom is up, because obviously it's not, intelligent. But
But it needs to survive.
Yeah, it needs to survive.
I think if there's one thing we've learned from doing these is that, I mean, and I think it's just in general, I think everybody kind of understands that, but wisdom realistically for monsters is just their ability to survive.
Right. I always relate it to like natural instinct.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Wisdom is more instinctual than thinking.
Right.
I think the one stat I would argue that could be lowered is Dex. I get it because it can climb, but I feel like for its size,
Yeah.
That's
it's
true.
a tiny bit too dexterous.
I mean, it's just a big hunk of plant
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
bodies inside of it. It's not very light.
Yeah, it seems like it would be heavy. I mean, it's not bad. Like, I can certainly see why it's a 14, but me personally, I would have made it like a 13 or a 12.
I don't disagree with that, to be honest with you, because you could maybe, big maybe, you could even bump it down to a 10 if you really wanted to do so. Because, yeah, we're talking 4 to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I think is the max. 9 corpses inside of it. Like,
Right.
I don't know how heavy bones are. I mean, I know bones float, but like,
Well, it doesn't have to be just bones. Like, I mean, it can have a
Flat
fresh
mass.
corpse in there.
that's
Yeah.
true. Which is, I mean, we're talking what, 100-something pounds for a
Yeah.
brand new corpse. So, yeah, no, I could see the movement being a bit of an issue too. Back going up to maybe, I don't know though. 10 feet movement seems kind of iffy.
Yeah,
I don't know if anything has that.
I don't know either.
Hmm.
Maybe 15?
Maybe 15. I could see that happening.
Now down to corpses, which,
Oh boy.
So, this thing has, as Cryo said, up to 9 corpses in it, depending on what the DM rolls on his dice. The remains have total cover. They are not affected by other effects outside the corpse flower. If the corpse flower dies, the corpses within can be pulled free, which I think our corpse had pretty much...
All the bodies were consumed.
Yeah, all of them were.
Because I rolled a 2 on the dice, so it had 5 in it, and I'm pretty sure I used all 5
Yeah, I
to
think so.
gain hit points back. Because
Yes.
at the time, I didn't know that they could do something else, which we'll get into.
Yes. So, as Cryo said, the flower can digest the corpse and regain 11 or 2d10 hit points. Oh, which that's kind of cool. Any equipment on the corpse is expelled from the corpse flower.
Interesting. I didn't think about that. Well, I mean, they
I'm
were
pretty sure you said they were skeletons.
skeletons at that point,
Yeah.
so it didn't really matter.
The corpse flower animates one undead humanoid in its body, turning it into a zombie, which we fought a lot of zombies.
Yeah, that literally a couple hours later.
Yeah, so yeah, glad we didn't have to fight more. But yeah, this is the cool other feat that Cryo was talking about, where it can just be like, I don't need health, and I'm being hurt. I'm gonna go take a look, but with this zombie.
Yeah, the big problem too, because I didn't know that at the time, but I don't think it would have been beneficial anyway, because you guys were doing a number to it.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah, I was gonna
and
say
without Sakura. Like, you know what I mean? So
lightning
like,
hurts.
Here's the thing. I've just read down a little bit. The zombie also has the stench of death.
oh fuck, really?
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh
it does.
my.
And the flower stench clings to it. So
Oh no, that's not. Yeah, I
That-
probably didn't.
it can solo like a large crowd.
Yeah,
if
it can.
well, solo, I say in quotation marks. It can. It's got crowd control.
It does. In my
does.
reading for like lore and stuff, I saw people discussing about how like if this thing knocks a player character and then absorbs the player character, how do you decide if the player character gets digested or reanimated?
I
And
mean,
someone was
that's
like,
that's
well,
the choice, right?
yeah. Well, someone's like, well, the most fair way to do it was, say it has 6 die in it, give each body, including the player character, a side of the dice, and roll.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
That's-
that's fair.
I mean, to be fair though, it has to, in order to pull the corpse flower in, which I think is lower on the list here, in order to pull it, it has to be dead. So
Right.
if Sakura would have had to have died for it to
Yeah.
have started pulling Sakura in. That's why when Sakura was knocked, it moved on to something else
Right.
because it wasn't dead yet.
Okay,
So-
so it does have spider climb, which we kind of talked about with the fact that it's got a climbing speed, which makes sense. I mean, it's a plant; they can grow damn near anywhere. So we were talking about dandelions earlier. Those things grow in the weirdest spots.
Yeah, and
They
then
do.
in the wind, the little puff modules will go and create
Right.
more of them. So like, plants are just fucking weird, dude.
I love the memes where it's like dandelion grows in anything. Beautiful flower that costs like $100, overwatered by like an ounce, dead.
It dies. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called being what's the word? What's the word? Like where you prissy? I don't know what the word is. Pampered. You gotta be
Pampered,
pampered.
yeah.
But these dandelions are just like, I don't give a fuck. I'm doing whatever I want.
Dandelion grows in concrete. Tulip.
They do. They do.
They
just
do.
come
They
through
do.
the cracks.
Like anywhere they
Stupid.
can get a little bit of like nutrition and sun, done. Dandelion.
There it is.
So then there's the stench of death that we've been bringing up.
Oh boy, I think somebody wants to
Here
talk about
we
the stench of
go.
death. I think somebody wants to talk about the
Torchic
stench
needs
of
to
death.
talk about this one.
This thing's fun. So, each creature that starts its turn within 10 feet of the corpse flower or one of its zombies must make a DC 14 con saving throw, unless the creature is a construct or undead. So, if you fail this bad boy, you ain't getting your turn. However, if you pass, you ain't gotta do it again for 24 hours. Now, that seems like it would be pretty good, except from if you're me and you suck at constitution saving throws, which has been a common thing throughout the entire campaign. I'm realizing as I've been re-listening to it. I've
Oh, you're really
always
listening to it?
yeah, because in Ataro I failed the constitution saving throw.
That's
When I
true.
got-
You did.
When I got bit by the snake in Ataro, I failed the con saving throw.
That is true.
I'm just not good against poison con saving throws. I've realized because I'm pretty sure in the underdog I also failed the con saving throw for eating the mushroom.
You did, but you guys never failed a con saving throw. This was just payback for the Catoblepus, because you guys never failed
True.
anything for the Catoblepus, which would have killed you. So I'm glad you failed these ones and not the Catoblepus ones.
I feel like I'm cursed to always fail the poison con saving throws.
Oh, that's true, because yeah, the Catoblepus were necrotic.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, that the stench of death. That's some. I've been using a lot of stench based, because this one, I think the Catoblepus was the same except it poisoned you. Or maybe the Catoblepus had the same thing.
I thought it was the same because I thought we got stunned.
No, because you got stunned by the tail.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, you got hit by the tail.
You
and
got hit by the
stunned.
tail and got stunned, but I think the Catoblepus. I'm looking it up right now. I'm pretty sure the Catoblepuses poisoned you.
I'm trying to-
Stench. Any creature other than the Catoblepus, DC 16 con save or be poisoned until the start of the next creature's turn.
So you get poisoned for the Catoblepas.
So you got poison for the Catoblepas.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, no, that's Stench Death. I mean, it's not the highest DC. Like, it's fairly average, but if you don't have a good con saving throw, it's going to be a little bit of a struggle.
Yeah, I don't know if Bryce remembers it, but Bryce was giving out some stats earlier that were blowing my mind.
Oh, so these stats came from Black Citadel. They did some number crunching. Let me see if I can find it here. Oh, so a player at the 17th or higher level with 20 points in con and a proficiency with con saving throws still will have an 87.5% chance to make the saving throw. So like
That is insane to me. Level 17, max con, proficiency in con, and there's still like a 15% chance you fail.
right?
Like that's insane. I mean,
Oh.
yeah, natural ones obviously, but
Right. Then
Wasn't it like there's a 40, like 40,
clerics have a 45%
7.5?
chance. Most clerics will have a 45% chance to fail it.
that's insane, dude. That seems unreal. That like it's not even that high of a saving throw.
Right?
Like the Catapult was
Yeah.
16, and you guys were destroying that.
Man, too bad
That's
I wasn't
insane.
part of Circle of Spores. I'd be immune.
Circle of Spores is wild, dude. I love that subclass. Oh boy. Now,
Okay.
I know a little bit about this multi-attack.
Yeah, the
Oh,
multi-attack.
I know a little bit about this multi-attack as well.
I don't know
3.
anything.
3 tentacle attacks. Yeah, because when I attacked you with one, I think I missed.
Yep, I dodged it. I didn't get hit the
Oh.
entire battle.
No, that entire battle you took 0 damage. Multi-attack. 3 of those bad boys. 3 of those little tentacles. 2d6 plus 2 bludgeoning damage. Doesn't seem too bad, right? No. DC 14 con save or take 4d6 poison damage.
That's the kicker.
That is what was kicking everybody in the ass. Because yeah, and it's not like the Stench of Death where if you succeed, you're never gonna take that poison damage
What's that a
again. It's
maximum
every
of?
time.
That's a maximum of
24.
24
No.
poison
Total. If you do total,
Oh,
It's
total max.
24 plus 14,
38 max.
38 max, and on a crit, don't even want to talk about it.
No, because wouldn't that double the poison damage?
It doesn't actually. It doesn't.
Oh, it
Crits-
doesn't.
Crits don't poison because it's a DC saving throw to do it. You have to make a saving throw to be affected by it. So
Max
it's
50 on a crit.
max 50,
That would
right? Which
that would
damage.
one
That's
shot
just
me.
one tentacle, right?
Yeah.
that's just one tentacle, and there's 3 of those bad boys.
So it's,
and the to hit's not bad,
no, I mean it's
Plus
it gives
5
you
to
plus
hit.
5.
and it's got a 10-foot reach, which is
Yeah, so
insane.
you got to back up quite a bit.
yeah. And then obviously harvesting the dead, grab a dead humanoid, put it in the corpse, and carry it around.
Right.
So
Which
it's pretty
thankfully didn't
insane.
do any grave robbing, so it had
Extra corpses
yeah.
to go get. Yeah, if at any point, I didn't expect you guys to, because that's not like how you guys have usually rolled. If you
Right.
would have dug up some dead bodies, eventually it would have started prioritizing that.
It'd been like food.
Ooh, hungry. Want, please give.
I've just realized if you fight this thing in a graveyard, it's going to be trouble if there's exposed bodies because it can
Oh, yeah.
pick the body up. Like if there's one free space, it can pick it up, instantly turn it into a zombie. Because
Yeah.
that's a bonus action, I'm pretty sure, for zombie.
Bone. Yeah, you could pick
Yeah.
it up.
Yeah.
You could pick it up as an action and then turn it into a zombie as a bonus action. Yeah,
Yeah, and then it gets its initiative right after.
which is insane.
This is insane.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, we are going to be moving on to a new segment for our special guest called How Would You Kill It?
Oh, this thing. If you're a martial class, so if you're up close to it, unless you've got a good con saving throw, it's going to be a little bit of a battle if you don't pass that first one. Because as shown by me, double advantage, it can stun lock you. And you can't get out of it unless someone drags you. So you want to fight this thing by keeping your range. And for spellcasters, you're probably going to be fine. You're already going to be far away. It's only got a 20-foot movement speed, so it's not going to really get up that close to you. The real kicker is you got to hit it hard. Because if you're just chucking like low damage spells at it, it can heal that thing up instantly. So you got to hit it hard and fast. Otherwise, it's going to wear you down in the battle of attrition.
And to be fair, too, Volstag's like what you just said. Volstagg used Virulent Spores, did like 11 damage, and then it healed up 11 damage.
Yeah.
Right, and so that was the big thing where it's like, oh, that's not good.
Yeah, it was like, oh, everything I just did. I think at that time I was testing it for weakness. I was trying to see if it was, like weak to poison or weak to... I don't have fire, but...
Weirdly enough, not weak to fire. I still don't understand that one. It's plant material.
Right.
I guess it's because of the bones in it, maybe. I mean,
maybe.
Then again, there are some trees that are resistant to fire.
That's fair.
That's a fair point. And to be fair, your typical game plan for how you play Sakudo is like the traditional MO for exactly what you said, to destroy this thing. But
yeah,
you just didn't get that chance.
Like, usually, the way I play Sakudo, if there's a distance, I throw my knives, close the distance. Now with my helmet, I can throw the knives, close the difference, getting close, hit them with the helmet, and then back up if it's dangerous.
Yeah, which would have been the perfect scenario for this if you didn't fail that first one.
Yeah.
Because you would have been like, oh, this shit's kind of dangerous.
That battle would have been so much easier had I passed it, and honestly, the first round can make or break this battle if you're fighting it.
It really can, yeah.
I mean, case in point, right? If you didn't, if you would have succeeded, right? And the thing that sucks is like, once you succeed, you don't have to worry about it anymore, right?
Yeah.
All you needed to do was succeed and it was done, but you kept failing, and that's why it was becoming a problem, right?
Yeah, just imagine if Scald had started or if Scald was the one filling the con saving throws, we would have been in deep trouble. Because he's the only reason I was still alive.
Honestly, but you were the only one, I think, who could have handled that. Because, yeah, Scald wouldn't have been able to help. Even Volstagg, you were the one doing the most damage towards the end. If you were the brunt of that, that would have been bad too.
I don't think it would have been as bad if Volstagg, because
you would have came in for the damage.
Yeah, like I would have came in for the damage, and obviously Volstagg is a lot tankier than I am because of his wild shape. It's just a problem of once that wild shape drops, it's a big problem then. And this thing can hit hard, like it attacks 3 times if it decides to. So it can either hit one person 3 times, spread the damage between 2 people, or hit 3 different people for like a decent amount of damage at the level we fought it at. Like, it was doing like half of our health per one technical attack.
Which is crazy. I
Yeah,
used
this
to
thing-
actually heal myself in wild shape, though. When I actually remembered that.
Yeah, which we don't really remember that often.
No, not often at all.
The one crazy thing I'll say about this is when I put this into the D&D Beyond encounter simulator builder, it said this thing was going to be like medium difficulty for you guys.
Really?
Which is true if it was a 3v1 like I
That's
had
true,
anticipated.
Yeah.
But it was a 2v1 in actuality,
Kind of
therefore
2v1.
making it very hard.
It ended up
Technically,
being
it became a
1.5.
It was
Yeah.
really only a 1v1 at the end, with me and Skull just like taking
That's true, you guys-
hits.
And then you guys both went down, and I'm just like, as a bear, just
Calling down
electrocuting
lightning.
this plant.
I think
Some-
large parties will always have a better chance against this thing than smaller ones. So if you're
Oh,
fighting
yeah.
this with 5 people, it's going to be a lot easier.
Oh, 100%.
However, it all depends on that con saving throw at the beginning. If you get within range of it. Like, if you're mostly comprised of spellcasters or ranged people, like a ranger is going to be really good against this. And, like, anyone with ranged spells is
Well,
just going to
especially if they
destroy
can
this thing.
stand farther than 120 feet.
Oh
You
yeah.
can see them.
Oh yeah, they can't see you. Which, in the situation you guys were in, that was kind of impossible.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you fight this thing in a forest,
Right.
super wide open, yeah, you could totally just get out of that thing's range and be good to go.
Yeah, just keep moving
Another
about
thing.
20 feet back every time, and you won't know what's going on.
Another thing you have to be very cautious of when fighting this thing, it can hit you 3 times, make a zombie, and that zombie can start hitting you.
That's true.
That's true. That's true.
So like, I don't know what the average HP for a zombie is. Is it around about 20?
I think it's 21 or 22.
21. 21, 22. Like, you think that's not going to be a problem until it's making a zombie every bonus action, and if you're not killing those zombies the second they come up, they're going to build up, and they've all got that stench of death. And zombies have 20? Or is it 25?
I don't think it's 25. I want to
How
say it's
come-
22.
22. Ooh, 22 feet?
Or
For
are you
movement
talking
speed.
about? Are you talking
Like,
about
yeah,
movement?
sorry,
Oh,
movement
they have
speed, yeah.
they have 30.
30.
No, 20.
20. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slow zombies.
Like, if you're up close to this thing, you fail the con saving throw, and it starts putting zombies out, they're probably going to go for the closest thing. And you're within 10 feet of this corpse flower, so it can easily just take someone out just like that. So you got to be real careful. Obviously, best game plan for this, keep your distance.
Hold up.
Like, even if
zombies
you're a
have
martial class.
Huh. We can talk about that later.
Yeah, you got to make sure you got someone on standby. Like, to pull the people getting up close out of this stench of death. Because it can be deadly.
Yeah, the stench of
Like,
death is-
stench of death.
Which is funny that it's called stench of death, but the cataplepus was just stench.
Stench.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because it wasn't killing or doing anything like putrid with it. I guess it was just poisoning you, which I feel like it would make sense to switch the naming conventions for both.
Right.
But-
So,
Yeah.
well, now we've seen how to kill it from the player's point of view. Let's see how to use it from a DM's point of view.
Oh boy, where to begin? I threw this thing because I thought it was cool, made sense for where they were going, and it was a nice little subversion of their expectations. For those of you who are curious, the quest was to go to a graveyard because, blada blada blada. Watch the show and you'll find out. They went sent there, and it was kind of a subversion of expectations because when you get sent on a quest to go to a graveyard, usually you expect zombies, you expect ghouls, you expect undead creatures to fight ghosts, stuff like that, which they even mentioned, I think, like talking about, fighting some ghosts or whatnot. And then I also, as the person who gave them the quest, played up the maybe you're gonna have to fight some ghosts aspect just to kind of trick them up. And the last thing you expect to fight is a plant. So I wanted to do a little bit of a switcheroo for them there with that one. Didn't think it was gonna get. I don't think it was gonna get anybody killed. I'll say that much. If you want my honest opinion on that. But yeah, sometimes players don't roll too well, and you accidentally create something that is a little bit harder than maybe you were expecting originally. But yeah, it was meant to just be a fun little thing, and I didn't know that the bulbs were kind of valuable. If I would have known that, I could have maybe put in a different quest, maybe something like, "Hey, go get those bulbs for me for whatever." Like I could have maybe incorporated it into another Willow Gin mission. It would have been interesting. Like maybe Willow Gin needed it for spell components or something. But then I think if this same situation had occurred, you would have gone to Willow Gin like, "What the fuck? You almost got us killed," which would have created a new dynamic. Hell, I could have even used because that was in the same episode. I could have tied it into the alchemists that gave you the
Oh,
growth
right, yeah.
potion at the beginning.
Yes, the growth potion.
I could have tied it into that where he could have come up to you and been like, "Hey, speaking of which, blah blah blah." But then that would, I don't know, that would have seemed dangerous. Like, why send you to do? I think it made more sense in this scenario, where you just kind of stumbled upon it, rather than being sent there
Right.
specifically to get it. I think that made it more of a shock in the end,
I agree with
if that makes sense.
Yeah, because like I mean,
Yeah.
Scald and I were both gearing up. We were equipping spells that had to deal with like undead and aberration stuff.
Oh, that I think I don't. Sorry, I heard aberration stuff, but I don't know what came before it. So please forgive me if I just repeat exactly what you said, because my mind kind of blanked. But yeah, you guys prepared
Yeah.
spells.
Yep.
Like for stuff that was going to be. I mean, to be fair, the thing that Scald did wasn't specifically for like ghosts and stuff.
Right.
With Scald, which I didn't even know that spell existed. I think it was called Warding Bond.
Yeah.
That spell was awesome. Too bad it didn't end up mattering.
No, because I didn't
very
take
much.
any damage.
I honestly think though it might have been more of a detriment if you were the one taking damage, because both of you were going to be taking
yeah.
damage that way.
Yeah.
So I think it
Yeah, I wasn't
worked
sure why
out.
he did that to me since I'm the tank. I should ask him about that.
I think maybe I think the logic behind it is basically it gives you barbarian rage.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
basically you would have been a bear in in bear form, just tanking, right? You were the tank, so you would have taken
Right.
more
Yeah,
damage
nope,
that
nope.
way.
Yeah, that makes sense. I forgot that.
And then-
that part of the spell.
That spell does kind of suck though, because like clerics can't really afford to take that much damage. So like if you put that spell on the tank who is taking a lot of damage, it's good for the tank because you're improving their tankiness, but you're also reducing your effectiveness
It'd
as a
be-
cleric.
Cool if he could give it to me and like Sakado.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be nice. That would be really nice. Or if it was a spell, which I think there's actually a spell like this that Matt Mercer created, where it's kind of the opposite effect, where instead of putting it on a teammate and you take damage, you put it on an enemy, and anytime you take damage, the enemy takes damage. So basically, like you cast it on yourself and the enemy, and if let's say the corpse flower were to attack Scald, let's say Scald takes 10 damage, Scald actually takes 5 and the flower takes 5. I think that would be an interesting thing to play to have as a spell,
Yeah.
because you're actively doing damage and it's actively killing itself in a weird like
Right.
metaphysical sense. But yeah, like you guys prepared very well. I just hit you guys with a subversion, which is nice because I haven't done that in a while.
Right. Well, yeah,
I haven't hit.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten you guys kind of like hit you with and you guys prepared and I was proud and that was a good session overall until like I almost killed everybody. But like yeah, you could there's a lot of potential here, I feel personally, especially because the lore is so loose and open. I think there's a lot you can do. You just fabricate different alchemists. Maybe one of your party members gets hit with this disease and the only cure can be made from the bulb of a corpse flower, right? You could use it as a plot point to help ailment, like for instance, let's see, what could I say? I think at some point there was a chance for you guys to get a disease in the Underdark. I don't remember what or why that was the case, but like let's no, I'm sorry. So on the wild magic table that I was using for you guys in the magic mushrooms in the Underdark, there was one that said your skin turns blue and it's considered a curse. So
Oh, you're a
that-
smurf.
basically, I mean, you didn't change size or anything. I could have tied it into that where it's like the only cure for your blue skin is to get to make a potion out of this corpse flower bulb, right? It's stuff like that like you could use it for anything. It could also be, I would suggest at a higher level to make this a random encounter. I wouldn't have made this a random encounter for you guys now,
Right.
because stumbling across this thing, you guys could have died that way. But so I'll say it because I say it every time. Corpse flower cult ? I don't know. I just say that every time, so I
Right.
thought maybe
mean,
I might.
This thing can still give us trouble at higher levels.
Oh, definitely. For sure. I
yeah.
mean, attacks is nothing to scoff at, right? Like that thing was a big problem, right? If it had 2 attacks, obviously it's doing less damage, so it might not have been a threat, but like you guys were getting berated,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Like there were times where you were taking 3 hits, and so all in all, it's one of those things. But yeah, I mean, I think it's really open. I think you can do a lot of different things with this. I think this is so far the most open-ended one we've done for Monster Corner, because of how loose you can play with the lore
Right.
on this one. Like this thing does move around, so like in your story there could be legends of a walking plant that consumes everything in its path, right? And like that could be the quest, like to find that. Like I think, I mean, you guys are at the perfect level for this thing, so I wouldn't say like this is like something you could throw at lower levels. I mean, obviously it does differ depending on how many players
Right.
are in your party, because if you got like 5 players in your party, you could take this thing on a little lower in the ladder. But maybe this is something you build up to, like legend speaks of a plant that roams the world, that consumes, and then maybe the quest is to beat that, but it takes a couple levels before you finally destroy it, and then that's the big revelation for that party. But yeah, I think you can do a lot, and I guess it's just kind of up to what you do. And please don't kill your party.
Why not?
Because they'll be mad at you.
Why not do TPK?
I mean, that's a whole other story. I'm not a huge fan. Well, let me take this back. TPKs, I think, are acceptable if your players run into some stupid shit. Like if at any point you guys decided, let's see, where would you guys have ended up with a TPK in like a really bad sense? Like, if you guys were to have gone into the Underdark without Amadeus, didn't find the Myconids, and just stumbled across that asylum that's in
Oh, right.
in like, because remember I was talking about that. If you guys would have just stumbled across that asylum, you guys probably would have died. Like, I'm just gonna be honest. Like, you know what I mean? It's just stuff like that. Like, I think that if the party wanders into things that they shouldn't be, and then like you kind of give them hints like, hey, maybe you shouldn't be doing this, and they do it anyway, then yeah, maybe you kill them. But also, I think that when you end up in a TPK, not necessarily on accident, but a TPK where just the dice rolls didn't work out and stuff like that, there's a lot of room for continuing the story.
Right.
Like for instance, I'll say this because I think it's cool and it might come into play depending on how things work, but if Sakato would have died there, I had plans to continue his story without making him make another character. I had that in the back of my head, like, okay, if he dies here, how can I make it so that he's not dead? That's the DM in me, which Bryce would argue is maybe a little too kind.
I'm pretty sure I actually brought it up first. Just like, I mean, I think it was because I was like, because I was thinking, how could I multi-class? And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, because this specific thing happened.
Yeah.
Story-wise, it would make sense that I can, and it also fits my stats as well. So,
I had another plan originally. Right when it was happening, I was like, oh, this is bad. This is not really good at all. I had another plan. It wouldn't have yours made way more sense. I'm just gonna be honest. The one you suggested to me made way more sense, but the one that I had in mind was the one that I was thinking about. Like, I needed to think fast, right? Because if that session ended with you dying, I needed to hurry up and like, not fix it per se, but figure out a plan for it. But the one you suggested was better. But yeah, don't kill your party with this, please. And if you do, send me a picture or something. I don't know.
if you do, tell me what killed it, and if it was the con saving throws, I'm gonna laugh.
Yeah. Just DM us if you use this
Oh,
thing.
tell us your
please.
story on Twitter. We're on Twitter.
Yeah, at Advantage Double on Twitter or any of our other @s on Twitter. DM us saying, hey, we used the corpse flower. Fuck you for suggesting it.
My party hates me.
Sorry. Yeah, let me say this. Run this at your own discretion, please. Because,
If your party's
sometimes...
low level. If they're high level, they can take it.
If you're DMing for a party of 2 and you throw this at them, that is sadistic.
Unless they're level 20.
Unless if it's a low-level party of 2 and you throw this at them, that is a sadistic DM.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. I'm not gonna argue that one.
Especially if they're both martial class.
Yeah, that's true. That's
If it's
true.
two ranged people, then maybe.
Maybe. Judge, read your party. Know your party.
Yeah.
For this one, I didn't know my party, so that I paid the. I paid
No,
the
for
price.
this one, you didn't know what I did before the session, which was utter his name.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah,
Go watch
Torchic
the
brought it
go,
upon
go
himself.
go watch the episode and you'll understand. And then the next episode they said it again. So, yeah,
I'm not
these
saying
guys
that.
just they like to fail, I suppose.
I think it was Nami who said
Only
it.
for the con.
Yeah, it was Tsunami and Torchic who said it. So
Yeah.
So
Oh,
they've
man.
doomed themselves.
Yeah.
There's a reason I didn't take any damage. But yeah, I think that's gonna wrap this one up for the Corpse Flower. I think Cryo said it best himself. Use at your own discretion for those
Mhm.
DMing. And for those who are fighting against it, maybe you can take some of Torchic's advice on how to kill it. Now that you know the stats and stuff. Don't metagame. Metagaming's bad.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Any closing words?
No, just be safe out there.
Yeah.
Y'all don't
Yeah.
die to flowers.
Don't tie the flowers.
Final words? I hate con saving throws.
Alright. Well, catch you guys on the next one. Peace.